Guest members, well, one guest member, we have Julien Brygo here, doing an investigation into poverty in Glasgow, and he's come to the club today to ask us how we're trying to help to alleviate poverty in Glasgow. So, welcome to the club. It is true, because we are aware that particularly in the poorer parts of Glasgow, male life expectancy is not very much over 60. It's mainly poor diets. It's not always about poverty, it's about lifestyle and life habits, alcohol abuse, poor diet. There have been quite a few initiatives on behalf of the Scottish Government. The school lunches have been completely changed, but the kids don't go to them. The kids go and have all these vans parked outside, fish and chip vans, burger vans, and the kids are ignoring the school meals and going out to these vans. So, you know, you can only do so much.
You know, I've just come back from India, and the people in the east end of Glasgow are very well off. So it's how you judge, you know, who is rich and who is poor.
But if we read WHO, they leave fewer days.
Yeah, this is which we have to address. In the genes, I don't think it's not because of nutrition. You know, people are not dying in the east end of Glasgow quicker because they didn't get fed. I think it's a way of life. I think it's a diet. I think it's loads of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly technical reason, like
Yes.
diet.
It's not a poverty reason. Definitely not a poverty reason. Everyone has clean water. Everyone, you know, there's no camps in the east end of Glasgow. There's no sanitarium problems. There's not. So I don't think it's a social. We have come a long way in breaking down the barriers for the class society. And this is very provocative, but I think that the welfare state has allowed people to survive at a level that did not give them an incentive to try and better themselves. Now, as a gold card carrying socialist, I can say that. I'm not a blue blood Tory, so I come from that background, and I think that that's a disappointment.
remember my mum and dad ended up there with poor conditions also. And my granny died when she was 84. My granddad died in 96, and mother granddad was 92. So no, they were poor people and all, staying in poor conditions, but obviously they lived a wee bit longer. Mm-hmm. And nowadays there's different social problems. People are dying of drugs. Mm-hmm. People are dying of alcohol abuse. People are dying of aggression. The amount of people getting murdered. It's different, mad wee things. If you probably look back years and years ago, the life expectancy was probably lower again. Mm-hmm. See, during the wars, why is people only living to 45? So there's different things. But it's great that so many millionaires like to live in Glasgow, right? And no wonder with people like us staying there. But it would be better end up if the wealth was distributed fairer. As everybody knows, you become rich through exploiting the poor. That's how they become rich.
Do you happen to have figures for the luxury market in Glasgow?
I could find some. If you tell me what you would like, I can easily get that.
Yeah, it would be the number of private golf, for example.
No problem.
The number of 4 or 5 stars hotel.
No worries.
The number of fancy restaurants that could attract the wealthy or the luxury market.
Yeah.
And
luxury shops.
Luxury shops, yes.
Well, the new 5-star hotel that's just opened recently is the Blytheswood Hotel.
The Blytheswood?
The Blytheswood, yeah. If you'd like, I can arrange for an appointment for you there or to go up and see it.
Nice.
People's reason to visit. It's the second largest retail centre outside the West End of London.
Okay.
The rental on Buchanan Street is the 7th most expensive street in the world.
When I was lucky enough to sell my first business in 1998, you know, I made a great deal of money, and I then took the next 3 years to kind of educate myself into what was going to be next. The most important person I met was Vartan Gregorian, who's the president of the Carnegie Corporation of New York. And Andrew Carnegie was a Scotsman who went to America, became the richest man in the world, and he said, a man who dies rich dies disgraced. Mm-hmm. And that was something that resonated with me. You know, why wait until you're dead to put your money to good use, you know, because it is very fulfilling and it's great fun, and it's, so why would you let somebody else have all the fun? Do you not think that happens in every... I mean, when I go to Mumbai, it's there. When I go to London, I'm not so sure about Paris.
Well, even though it's like this in many cities, do you think it's normal? Do you think it should be like this?
Of course not. My next meeting is for a thing called Cash for Kids, which is to help the children in Glasgow specifically in these difficult areas. The genesis of your piece is about Glasgow and its regeneration. It's moving from an industrial city to... But you seem to be concentrating on the wealthy people living next to poor people.
To the poor, yeah. That's one of the reality of...
Isn't that the case of the world over?
Well, that's
yeah. I remember Mexico at the World Cup in '86 and the terrible poverty. It was only 9 months after the earthquake, 1985.
Okay.
And staying in in a lovely hotel. And some of the journalists were there, and I'd come out at night time, and the families were there and working and selling whatever they could just at the hotel. But if we didn't come, with the wealth from Europe, then they would be even poorer.
I'm not somebody who thinks government can solve all our problems. If anything, I would want less government. I think people need to determine what they want to do for themselves, and government have got to give us a framework in which we can do that. I don't look to government.
Going up. Please mind the doors. Doors closing. Going up.
Inequality is bad for health. And it's kind of statistically proven. Inequality is bad for your physical health, for your mental health, and it becomes a cycle. And in Glasgow, in the 1980s particularly, a lot of the industry shut down. And when it did, many people lost their jobs. It wasn't just individuals, but communities lost jobs, you know, and so you then had children growing up in families where their dads had stopped working at the age of 50 and never started again.
That's the story of Carlton, Easterhouse, Parkhead,
Castlemilk,
Postle,
and then the next generation, what happened was a lot of drugs started to go into these communities. And then people that did have jobs moved out. People that had drug problems and other issues got moved in.
To millionaire Willie Hockey, he says that there is no camps in the east end of Glasgow, there is no sanitary problems. What do you answer to Willie Hockey?
People like Charles Hockey, Willie Hockey, they don't see that, and so they've never lived a life where they didn't have any opportunity, where they didn't have anything to aspire to, where they didn't see any way out. If nobody in your family has ever went to university, what makes you think you can go to university?
So you think that the reproduction of inequalities kills more than fish and chips?
Yes, absolutely.
There is 660,000 people in Glasgow, approximately. And it would be nice if everyone who was working gave something, rather than 10 people giving millions. If everyone had charity, right, in their heart, then it helps all sorts of problems. Okay. We should do what Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are doing, is to talk to the rich to try to get them to do more. Don't tax them, don't tell them. Entrepreneurs, successful people, hate being told what to do with their money. What we should do is convince them.
So no tax, but convince.
Yes, yeah.